Thank you very much. Dear Madam President, dear Ursula, dear ladies and gentlemen, dear journalists, every year on the 9th of May our continent celebrates Europe Day, and it is symbolic that Europe Day follows the Day of Memory and victory over Nazism in the Second World War. Our Europe has become possible thanks to the victory over evil of aggression and ideology of hatred. Our Europe, which is based on respect to peoples and unites different nations, not by conquer, but by shared values. Our Europe has become possible exactly then when the evil of aggression has been defeated. We will always be grateful to everybody who were fighting against Nazism and won. The victory opened the historic space for the unification efforts in Europe, and it is important that at that time it became obvious what our efforts have to be for our peace, for our joint Europe. Of course, it is best formulated in the very first sentence that opens the Schuman Declaration that I was citing. World peace cannot be safeguarded without the making of creative efforts proportionate to the dangers which threaten it. Together, now we again are fighting against the evil of aggression and politics of hatred that modern Russia returned to our continent. So we again require victory, and we again come back to the sense of these words of Schuman Declaration. Our efforts for the sake of united Europe, for the sake of security and peace, have to be as strong as Russia's aspirations are to destroy our security, our freedom and Europe. We have to act in proportion to the threat, not weaker, in order to overcome, to win over this evil of aggression, so that the new generations of Europeans can celebrate Europe Day in peace, and not to recall that there used to be such a holiday on the continent when there was peace. And I'm grateful to our partners who are acting for the defense of Europe and freedom in proportion, in particular in proportion to the threat. I'm grateful to you, Ursula. I'm grateful to your unwavering aspiration to find strong solutions necessary for Europe. Today we have come together in particular for such strong solutions. First, defense. Second, our unification. Third, solution of the existing contradictions. As to defense, Ukraine daily demonstrates efficiency of our defense against Russian aggression. Every intercepted terrorist missile, every success of our warriors in defeating Russian attacks, these are the proofs that we can win over this aggressor. The main thing is the proportionality of our abilities to the abilities that the aggressor has. And in this context, I have thanked Ursula for the readiness of the European Union to provide Ukraine with badly needed ammunition, 1 billion artillery shells, and we have also discussed the key issues, the speed of the procurement and delivery of this ammunition, because they are needed on the battlefield already now. Also, as to the defense issues, we have touched on the issue of the sanctions against Russia for this aggression, and we count on the 11th package of sanctions to be approved in the near future, and part of it should also be sanctions against the nuclear sector of the terrorist state. Then the strength of this package will be proportional to the level of threat. Second point is our unification. Today we meet here in Kyiv, in this wonderful place, in St. Sophia, which is one of the ancient centers of European culture. Here, in everything, you feel that Ukraine has always been and will always be an integral part of our joint European space. And this first of all, means the space of our common values, the cultural space that transforms into the relevant political and economic space. It's high time to remove artificial political opacity in the relations between Ukraine and the European Union. It is time for a positive decision to open negotiations on Ukraine's membership in the European Union. Our values, security, prosperity, peace on the continent, all of this can come true 100% for Europe only together with Europe. In this context, we count that in June, a positive interim assessment of the European Commission will be presented on the progress of Ukraine on the way to the European integration. And we do count on this. The third point of our talks today, we have discussed export of our agricultural products. We have a joint consent on the importance of Ukraine's introduction into the global food security of the world. And we have joint examples of success in the food area. In particular, it concerns such programs as our humanitarian initiative, Grain from Ukraine, and our solidarity lanes. And solidarity cannot be less than objective need for it. But unfortunately, we have faced problems in something where we should have shown strong signs of solidarity, in particular proportional to the threats that exist today, tough and even violent. Protectionist measures from our neighbors, they cannot but disappoint, softly speaking. Any restrictions of our export are absolutely unacceptable because they strengthen not everybody in Europe, but also the possibilities of and abilities of aggression. So we expect that the relevant problematic issues will be monitored and that any decisions will not be taken without consultations with Ukraine. We expect strong solutions, European in their context, and we expect that all the restrictions will be removed as soon as possible, and our talks show that there is such a will for such decisions, and we will be able to find optimal decisions that will defend the interests of Europe in general and the interests of Ukrainians that are suffering from everything, and in addition also from the export restrictions. Thank you very much, Madam President, dear Ursula. Thank you very much for your understanding. Thank you for our talks that we have already started today, and I congratulate everybody with this day, with Europe Day, and I wish the quickest possible restoration of peace and freedom for our entire Ukrainian land, for our Ukrainian European land. Glory to Ukraine.